I do treat my main characters. I really put them through it. Each one goes through a different difficulty. But yeah, Iris is really struggling. And what I did with the family inside is I kind of started with my fears, and that's kind of where I begin a lot of the little original nuggets. Like when I start drafting, is I have a list of all of my fears that I have, and a lot
Would
of them
you
are true crime.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but just for editing, would you share some of those with us as you go into that?
Yeah, sure. So some of my fears, just listening to true crime episodes, like for example, in The Night It Ended, this might give away a little bit of the book, but one of my biggest fears personally are home invasions. And then for for the family inside, my fear that I based Iris's character arc off of was losing everything, facing homelessness, job loss, not having any money to keep the roof over her head. It's a very real situation that a lot of people find themselves in, and it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. So that's one of my fears that I wanted to confront with her. For the family inside, I live near a river and it's very mountainous. And so there are actually a lot of these mansions that are right on the cliff. And it's kind of scary if you see them because it's like, okay, one like little earthquake and it's gonna fall right in the river. They're held up by these concrete pillars, but I always thought, how cool would it be to live in there? So that's where Ravencliff came from. Um, I think I do mention that it is on the Hudson because they're in upstate New York. And I just love that setting for the book. And old mansions, who doesn't love an old mansion? It's just you want to know what's in there. Like not just secrets, but like what are those rooms? How do you fill all that space? I don't draw it. I actually kind of would go online and farm it out, Google images. And then I always do that with characters as well, like just ideas. But it is in my head, just visually. I do see the whole inside and outside of the house. So that was kind of difficult to find an actual location where I can draw some inspiration from, but somehow I did. I found an actual mansion that is in Philadelphia called Raven Hill. And so when I saw Raven Hill, I was like, that looks exactly what I thought that my house is going to look like. And so I already had this idea of this whole mansion up on the cliff, and the name for the real mansion is Raven Hill. So I'm like, okay, well, Raven Cliff, it has to be called Raven Cliff. But yeah, so if you do want to see what I imagine the family house to look like, it is a Raven Hill in Philadelphia. Hugh is just your dreamboat. He has his own architecture business. He's very clean cut. He's very sweet. I think he's romantic, supportive. But then there's something bubbling underneath the surface that he's trying to contain that eventually just slowly the layers start peeling away, because nobody is perfect. And I think that's a trope that, a lot of people enjoy, and I know I enjoy, is the seemingly perfect husband or wife, and then once you get to know them, that's not how it is, because that's just like the front that they're trying to portray. But for Ellery is kind of like the opposite. She's, her father was murdered when she was 15 years old. She's 18 now. She's going through it as well, just like her mom, but in a different way. She's kind of like how I was at that age. I wasn't the best daughter. When I was a teenager, I fell in with the wrong crowd. I did all the bad things. So yeah, her arc, especially in the second POV with Ellery, that I did draw some inspiration off of my horrible teenage years. Yeah, so I can relate to her. I never had this experience that Ellery has in the book where I was like, I'm going to California with my boyfriend. I never did that, but the idea of I think there's a scene where they're just like drinking stolen liquor in a cemetery. Yeah, that, I mean that type of thing, the stealing of the alcohol. Yeah, just horrible things like that. I didn't personally do it for the record, but yeah, my friend group was just the type of group who would smoke on a roof and want to tattoo themselves. So not people I'd want to hang out with today, but that experience gave me, you know, it broadened your experiences, your horizon. So